From punching an old guy in a pub to losing to Nate Diaz in a fight, these are Conor McGregor's most embarrassing moments ever. Right off the bat, his defeat by Floyd Mayweather. Back in 2017, when McGregor stepped into the boxing ring to fight Floyd, everyone knew that Conor losing the fight was inevitable, except for maybe the Irishman himself. That's a dangerous level of self-delusion. I mean, it was pretty stupid of him to take on one of the best boxers of a generation in his professional boxing match. But McGregor's self-belief has always been pretty high. To be honest, in the first few rounds, it actually did look like he was going to pull it off and end up scoring a victory over Mayweather. Unbelievable, right? Well, that hope didn't last for too long, because then Floyd took over in the third round. In the fourth round, he started landing punches on the Irishman, and by the 10th round, McGregor was staring at his defeat. Now, the Irish superstar has done a masterful job hyping up the match, so millions of people had watched him suffer this humiliating defeat. Later on, when he was asked to reflect on the fight, the Notorious himself stated that whenever he looks back at it, he shivers with embarrassment, and even admitted that he made a lot of technical flaws in it. At the end of the day, both men did end up taking a staggering $100 million home, so it's safe to say that neither one of them really felt like a loser afterwards. Moving on, this wasn't even the Irishman's most embarrassing loss. Remember the time when he lost to Nate Diaz and no one could believe it?
Diaz gets the mount! My goodness! Now he's got the back!
Now! That's it! He's got the choke!
Nate Diaz!
He's out!
He has done it! It is all over!
Before UFC 196, McGregor just seemed unbeatable in the octagon. The Mystic Man was dominating his opponents like never before. Safe to say, the former UFC champion was on a high roll. Now, McGregor was originally supposed to fight Rafael dos Anjos for the UFC lightweight title, but then dos Anjos dropped out because of an injury and Nate Diaz replaced him. At this point, Diaz was just viewed as an entertaining veteran, certainly not someone McGregor would end up losing to. But of course, that's exactly what ended up happening. After the first round, where the Notorious landed some big bombs on Diaz that didn't harm him, it became pretty obvious that the fight was going to go one way.
Good left hand just missed. Crowd loving it, justifiably so. Another good left hand by Conor.
And just moments later in the second round, McGregor was tapping to a rear naked choke. Fans just couldn't believe it. The Notorious had been defeated by a guy who had accepted the fight on less than 2 weeks' notice. This defeat absolutely killed his momentum, and the loss was just super humiliating. That being said, nobody's forgetting about his embarrassing leg injury during his fight with Dustin Poirier. UFC 264 was the highly anticipated trilogy fight between the two fighters, coming after one win for Dustin and one for Conor. Before the fight, the Irishman talked about how it'd be light work for him to defeat Poirier, but everyone knew McGregor would be out-grappled. Now, fans were expecting that Dustin would end up winning via submission, or even McGregor losing by decision. Yet, none of those things happened. Instead, the fight stopped in the first round after the Mystic Man ended up suffering a leg injury. It was the most shocking way to see the Irishman lose. At the end of the day, Conor talked the talk, but he failed to walk the walk. Moving on, the Irishman has had some embarrassing moments outside the octagon too. For instance, the time he punched an old gentleman. Yep, that actually happened. Let me tell you guys what went down. The Notorious entered a pub in his hometown in Dublin and decided that he was going to buy the people sitting around a shot of whiskey, proper number 12. Probably as an attempt to promote it. Nothing wrong with that, right? Well, as it turns out, a 50-year-old man refused to drink his whiskey. Not once, but twice. And all of us know Conor doesn't take rejection all that well. In the video, we see the two of them talk for a few seconds before the former UFC champ loses his temper and punches the old guy. And everyone around is left shocked. The Irishman is then dragged away outside. The footage of the incident was made public by TMZ, and it really doesn't take a genius to guess that the incident didn't sit too well with the public. In fact, many pubs refused to even sell Conor's whiskey. Yikes. I mean, he definitely deserved the backlash, since who in their right mind decides to punch an old guy? That too, without any reason. This was a new low, even for McGregor. The Irish superstar was then charged with assault and fine. Later on, McGregor admitted that he was in the wrong and had made amends with the victim.
In reality, it doesn't matter what happened there. I was in the wrong. That man deserved to enjoy his time in the pub without having it to end the way it did. And although 5 months ago it was, and I tried to make amends, and I made amends back then, it's still, the fans don't even, that does not even matter. I was in the wrong. I must come here before you and take accountability and take responsibility.
But up next, it just gets worse. With Conor being Conor, gave UFC fans another humiliating moment to talk about. The Irishman was accused of attacking a woman on his yacht. This incident happened at the fighter's 34th birthday in Ibiza. The woman, Samantha Murphy, claimed she was from the same neighborhood as the Irishman and knew him. Murphy then went on to state that she and a couple of others were invited back to his yacht. And once they were on the yacht, the Irishman's behavior with her changed, and he started getting aggressive with her. So much so that she feared for her life and ended up jumping from the yacht into the water. Samantha was then rescued by a Red Cross boat. Murphy later told police how the former UFC champion had kicked her in the stomach, punched her in the face, and even threatened to drown her. That's not really okay. And to hardly anyone's surprise, Conor released a statement in which he denied all the allegations. And later on, Samantha ended up dropping her lawsuit against him. Pretty sure the reason why she backed off is clear to everyone, especially after learning that her home had been attacked on 2 separate occasions after she made the incident public. This was just super childish behavior from a grown man. Now, this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk about his humiliating defeat by Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yep, I'm talking about the one and only UFC 299 brawl. To be fair, we can't really blame Conor for this one, but still, in some way, it was the Irishman who set this one off, especially after being the mastermind behind the Brooklyn bus incident. At the start of the fight, everyone was expecting a real bloody war between the two fighters.
McGregor lands early. Pressure right off the bat by Conor. He's trying to force the shot out of Khabib with pressure.
I mean, so much had been said and done. There was just no way either of them were going to go easy on each other. But that didn't end up being the case at all. Conor was defeated from the start, and by the 4th round, it was all over.
Nope, it's on the chin.
There's the tap.
And you guys certainly don't want me to remind you what happened next.
Look at him. Look at him screaming at the corner. He's screaming at Dylan Dennis.
Millions of people witnessed the Eagle jumping over the ring and attacking McGregor's teammate. And just like that, a literal brawl broke out.
Oh,
And now Khabib jumps the fence. Dylan Dennis. Mayhem. Oh, no.
But the actual cringe and embarrassing moment came afterward. Conor ended up releasing a lengthy tweet in which he basically said that he destroyed the Eagle's 2 teammates, just so the attention would deflect from his humiliating loss by Khabib. But the fans saw right through it. The secondhand embarrassment was real, guys. Just a word of advice to the champ. Sometimes it's just best to say nothing and let people move on. Well, there you have it. These were Conor McGregor's most humiliating moments.
But again, we're talking about a guy in his first pro boxing fight. The right hand's now at will, and tags him again. Floyd Mayweather has McGregor on the ropes, literally and figuratively. How is the notorious one still standing?
Still undisputed. Khabib Nurmagomedov.
I just want to say I'm thankful to the DA and the judge for allowing me to move forward. I want to say to my friends, my family, my fans, thank you for the support. Thank you.